It's me.
Can you believe that, man?
The last word.
Yeah, that's right. You got it. Last word.
Patrick Ewing stayed home, and the curse has been lifted, and Jalen Brunson was able to get loose, and 30 points later, the New York Knicks pull off a big one, 111-105. What do you think? The New York Knicks pulling one off, and Jimmy Butler didn't play in this game, so that was probably the biggest factor in this happening. So what's your take on that? I'm sure you must be happy. Jalen Brunson, 30 points.
Hey, one of my new favorite players in the league, right? But yeah, he came out to score and lead this team tonight. And again, Miami kept it close for the majority of the game. But without their top dog, it just felt. And again, for Miami to pretty much kick the can down the road and say, you know what, it's more important for Butler to get these additional days of rest, and we go home and ready to take over this series, fully focused on winning those 2 home games and having the opportunity to then close out the game in New York, which I'm sure Butler would love the opportunity to do that because he's that kind of dude. So I'm sure that's what he's hoping for.
So let me ask you this question: like, it was 111-105 for the New York Knicks. Are you encouraged from what you've seen thus far? Because really and truly, without Jimmy Butler, Miami looked like they had control over this game, and it was actually looking like they were going to win. I know.
You knew eventually there's going to be that point where it just no longer would be able to keep up, and New York would pull it off. Again, Randall coming out having 25 points and giving him that scoring punch that they lacked in the game 1, right? Where him being out and that scoring being out could have potentially gave New York a chance to win that first game. So it's 1-1 going into Miami, and
it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
See.
We want to welcome back Last Word contributor Jerry Inde to the show. Jerry, you know that the New York Knicks finally pulled it off. They didn't have Patrick Ewing in the building, but they did have Bernard King in the building. And I guess his spirit lived on because
John Stark in the building as well.
Oh, John Starks. And Aaron Rodgers was actually there, too. So a bunch of superstars coming out. Carmelo Anthony sighting, too. So it was quite interesting to see that happening. Jerry, let me get your take. What do you think? Is this going to be the sign of things happening that regardless of a meager win without their star, are the New York Knicks able to push it forward and probably win this series?
Again, I think about it. The more I think about it, I don't see the Knicks getting out of this round. I'm sorry, New York fans. I just don't see it. Again, I'm looking at some of the numbers. Jalen Brunson, absolutely amazing player. He brings his lunch pail and hard hat every day to work. Those are the kind of guys that, he's flourishing in New York, and I'm glad to see that. But at the end of the day, I just don't see it. And they had Randall in, and I'm looking at Randall's number, and he's 25, 12, and 9, and they're winning only by 5 points.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad to hear you give Brunson. Give Brunson his due and acknowledge him, because I know we've had some conversations previously, and I felt there was a little disrespect on Brunson, but hey, that's just me.
Again, that's for another day. We'll have that conversation on the topic, because I know we have that disagreement between Kyrie Irving and Kyrie Brunson.
Yep.
We'll leave that for another show.
All right.
But again, I'm going to give him his dues. I'm going to give him his flowers. He's an awesome player. He does what he needs to do to make that team win.